Today, let's make a fun vintage style coin envelope and attach it to our journal. Welcome, it's Barbara from Vienna, Austria. If you've seen my latest vlog from a couple of days ago, you will know that in this journal, which is a journal I made in the Keeper of Memories workshop taught by Alex Castro Ferreira, I will link the online version of this web shop for you below, as well as my videos with my preparations going into the workshop, as well as footage of the workshop and a flip through of this journal. So if you've seen that vlog, then you will know that I put this letter in the back of my journal. So this letter was a letter that we were encouraged to write to ourselves. And the idea was to have a letter from our ancestors, so in this case from my parents. And we were encouraged to only write positive things, things that they would have written to us current day. So a really fun idea. And then we gave these letters to Alex, who then posted them from her home in Lisbon. So this is still closed and I will keep it closed for now. I will open this maybe in a few years. I just covered up my address here. And this still needs to go in my journal. And I don't just want to leave it laying in there. I want to put it in a pouch or coin envelope, however you want to call it, and attach it to my journal. So what I have planned is something you can also add to any journal. I have prepared a piece of packaging paper, which is going to be my base for my coin envelope. Let's move this aside. And the way I measured it is I took my envelope. So you take whatever you want to put into your pouch, or you just make an empty pouch and then decide what you want to put inside. And I measured it so that I can overlap these two so that I can glue them together, and so that I would have space on the top and the bottom for the flaps. So my bottom flap is going to be a little bit more narrow than my top flap. So this is my base, which I want to now cover. Of course, you could just make the coin envelope out of packaging paper or any recycled paper. That's fun as well. But in my case, I want to stay in the style of this book. So I curated some items here. This is a Tim Holtz fabric, as well as this. I don't have these in my journal, but I think they go very well with the style of the journal. Then I have some tablecloth bits. These are dyed with black beans. They come out in a light lilac color. These here are scraps from the workshop. So this is the fabric that we dyed with the turmeric and the tea. So I want to use some of those. And this one I had from rust dyeing. Then I also have some papers. So this is a photo of my mom and dad. Maybe I will put that on the front of the envelope. And I have some papers, some of which I have used in my book. This one we received from Alex, so I definitely want to include that. Some music paper, and there's some papers that I didn't use in the book, but go very well with the style of the book. So what I want to do is to take these pieces and arrange them to cover all of my packaging paper. So I'm just going to play around and cover up everything. So I'll just fast forward this part. So I'm happy with that, even though there's nothing here. Actually, I could put a piece here. It doesn't really matter here because this will be the edge that will be glued, but why not just add another strip here? I should have thought of that before, but I just want to put some paper underneath for protection. So now we have to glue everything down, and I'm going to use my textile glue for all of it because that's simple, and this textile glue is from Action. It's a Dutch chain, and it also glues paper very well. I love this glue. So I'm just going to go ahead and adhere everything. The paper bits are easier because I don't have to spread the glue. I can just do that and then glue that down. But for the fabric, I think it's better to spread it with a brush. The advantage of having something underneath is also that you can then turn it, which makes gluing life a lot easier. So I would not just do that and put the fabric on top because I think we will see the glue streaks. Make sure there's no wrinkles. And continue that for the whole surface. Okay, everything is adhered and it's also dry. In my case, I dried it with a heat gun. If you have time, it's probably best to let it air dry overnight. But I'm making a video, so I don't have time. And now I'm going to cut off all the excess. So I'm going to vary between my fabric scissors and my regular scissors. Okay, so now I have a rectangle and I'm going to take this to my sewing machine to do some random funky stitching on it. This is definitely a step you can skip. As you can see, I went a bit crazy with my stitching. I think it's a lot of fun. So this is what the inside looks like. And now we need to make the pouch where this envelope will fit into. So let's turn this around and make our coin envelope. So I'm just going to fold it here and then here. And then on the bottom, I fold a corner up, just like you're making a present, folding up here and here. Don't want to make it too tight because I do want to be able to take the envelope out easily. And then I need to cut the top. So let me see where this goes. So the flap is here. So I want to cut off any excess here. So now I unfold this again and we'll cut away all the parts that will create unnecessary bulk. So I'm going to cut a trapezoid shape here on the bottom. I'll cut all of this away. And then we do the same thing on the top. But on the top here, I'm not going to follow the crease. I'm going to cut a little bit of a diagonal here. Makes it easier to take out whatever is in the pouch. And we'll slap this as well. So we should have a shape like this now. So now we can fold this up again and glue this together, and then we have our flap on top here. What a cute coin envelope. I've made many coin envelopes in the past, but I've never made one like this, and I think this is so fun. I wish you could feel this. It's so fun to have this mixture of texture of paper and fabric. Okay, and the top, obviously we don't glue because we want to be able to open that. Let's see if my envelope still fits. Yes, easily. Oh, this is so cute. I think this would also be a really cute idea for a happy mail or just a present for someone. So then I thought I might add a photo of my parents to go with my journal, but I'll cut it down just a little bit. Putting this on here now, I realize I don't like that it covers up so much of this fun collage and my stitching. So I decided to go with something else. I have these overhead transparencies. You can find these online. They are made for inkjet. They are not cheap, but they are so worth it. And when you print on these, you really have to be careful on which side you print, because only one side has a surface that you can print on where the ink will dry. The ink will take longer to dry than on regular paper because, of course, a transparency does not absorb the ink like a regular paper would. I have accidentally printed on the wrong side once, and even the next day it was still completely fluid, so it does not soak into the transparency whatsoever on the wrong side. So pay attention to that if you get some overhead transparencies like this. So I printed the whole sheet on this transparency, and I think this is so much fun. And the other reason why I wanted to use this was because in my book I have a lot of these. So this is printed on a transparency, and this here is, and so on and so on. So I want to stick with that style. I'm just unsure which one to take now. So I could of course take the one that I chose before, which is this one. And I think it's really fun to put it in a place where we can see the writing underneath. I also really like this one here. I might go for this one. Look how fun the dress is. It's so cute. And then we have this one just of my mom. She basically looks like a ghost here. But I want both my parents because it is a letter from both of them. I'm going to go with this one here. So I'll cut that one out. I'll cut away some of the dark parts here on the bottom, because that would just cover up my fabric. What would have been really smart to do before gluing my pouch together would have been to sew this on. And also something else I forgot, I wanted to add some hand stitching, which now of course I cannot do. I could add some here on the flap. I have another idea, because the question is how to adhere it. I'm not sure double-sided tape will stick well enough to adhere for years and years to come. The matte medium might actually work, but I don't want to do that because of the drying time. Just for the sake of the video, of course. So I thought I could still staple it because the top is open. And the stapling works really well with the style of my book because I have a lot of staples in there. So let me position that. And I'm okay with that flipping up. And then I thought, well, why not also add some lace scraps? So I have my jar of lace scraps here, and we can just pick some and just adhere them. Oh, that would be so cute. Oh, got some glue on my photo. Oh no! Actually, that's kind of cool because the ink is rubbing away a little bit, so it's not completely dry, obvious. But that is cool because it gives me like the damaged photo effect. I like that. Happy accident. Let's find a couple more pieces. What about this one? And one more for good measure. Yep, That's it. And I just thought of another way to add the hand stitching. I just need to cut a piece of fabric, stitch on that, and then glue that down. Very simple. So let's cut a piece, or let's tear it. And then we can do some simple stitching on that. What color do we choose? Oh, how about this one? Because I have this one in my book as well. Yep, that's perfect. So I made a knot at the end, and I am simply going to do some, I'm going to try my best to do some messy, just irregular stitches. In the video where I was also making some stitches, and I said I have such a hard time making messy stitches because I was taught to be neat and it's so in me. I had some comments saying, why fight that? Why not go with what is intuitive for yourself? And I totally get that. But the thing is, I really enjoy the messy stitch look. For me, it's just more interesting than the perfect stitch. And it looks like I'm doing it right now. I mean, the messy version. Sort of. I mean, it's not all over the place. I don't think I want it to be all over the place. Like, there is a limit to how messy I want this to be. Has to be the right amount of messy to work. Okay, I think I'm good with that. So I'll just knot that off. Double knot to be sure. Could even use this side for the top with the 2 knots. No, I'll stick with this side. Okay, if I stick this down now, that means I won't be able to flip up the photo anymore. What if I put it underneath? No, I don't like that. Okay, so I guess we're sticking it down. That's okay too. What do you think? I really like it. And since I have some more thread left over, why don't I also add some stitching on my flap here? So I'll do the same thing. Cute! Let's add our letter. I feel like it needs a closure. So let's make one. I'm just using this cardboard and I'll punch out a few of these. 3 I think should be fine. So I need 2 of those. So I need 3 more circles. I'll glue them on top of each other. I'm just going to use my textile glue because it's here. And it works just fine. It's strong, it dries fairly fast. Make sure they line up. Do the same with the other 3. And I want to cover them in this same lilac fabric. Because I cannot punch them out, I'll just have to cut the circle shape. So let's just cut around this. And I think they could use a little bit of distressing on the edges. I'm using walnut stain. Then I'll punch a hole in the middle of each. You can also use an awl. This one needs a bit of help. Then we need to figure out where to place them. So one will go here in the middle. Just mark where I have to punch. Let's leave that there, and then we'll do another one down here. Try to line them up, obviously. So the top one I can do with my crocodile. And for this one, I need to use my awl. So I'll put a piece of foam in between so that I don't poke through to the other side. And then let's choose 2 brads. I'll take these and attach our little circles. Okay, now we just need some twine. I have this off-white one, which I'm going to tie underneath my fabric circle. I'll just make a double knot. Cut off the short end so that we can't see that. And then I'll just wrap it around the other one. Wrap it in like an 8 shape, and I can decide how long I want to have it. I'll do like that. And for the final touch, I also want to add some alcohol ink. This is caramel. I think it looks super cool on the transparency. I'll let that dry for a moment, and then I'll do the same on the other side. So the envelope is done. I am so happy with it. And now we just need to attach it to our book. Looking at my fabric pieces that I still have left, I have these, which I originally used here to bind the book, but then I realized I had too many. So let me see if I have 2 that match. I'll take these 2, and they have the holes in them because I needed that for the binding. I won't need it now, but they don't bother me. So I'm going to take these and adhere them to my envelope first. Just want to check on the placement. You see, I have these 2 here, so probably best to go over those. I think otherwise it will look a bit weird. So one goes like that, and the other one goes here. Okay. So I'll just use my fabric glue. I'll add glue on this side. And then I'll just glue that down here. I would definitely let that dry completely before I do anything else. I dried it a little bit with my heat gun, but I can still feel it's still very damp. But for the sake of the video, let's add the letter into our pouch. Please make one of these. I really wish that you could feel how yummy this pocket feels. So that just sits in there. I love it. And then that just closes and it doesn't impact the book itself. So you can see it's right there. Let me know if you make one. Obviously you can make these in any style you want. Most important thing is for you to have fun with it. Love you guys. Mwah, mwah. I said the last drink was the last drink. You make it hard to leave. We're telling secrets in the dark while drinking whiskey neat. I would fall in a second if you let me, 'cause you're all